Well, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam endorsed a bill that would allow women an abortion all the way up until the moment they delivered the child. Democrats in other states have advanced similar legislation: Vermont, Rhode Island, New York. President Trump condemned those efforts during the National Prayer Breakfast this morning. Here's part of what he said.
We must build a culture that cherishes the dignity and sanctity of innocent human life.
Eric Metaxas is the author of many great books: Martin Luther, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, etc. He just has written a book called Donald Drains the Swamp. He was at the prayer breakfast this morning, and we're happy to have him. Eric, thanks for coming on. What is the significance of prayer in a moment like this?
I don't know how anybody can survive without prayer. Life is hard. You know that. I know that. I think the issue, though, is that in the United States of America, all of the founders, without any exception, understood that without a virtuous and moral populace, which to them basically meant a religious populace, the kind of freedom that we know cannot exist. And so for us as a nation once a year to have an event like this, I mean, it's sort of the least we can do. But I would say that prayer is the great humbler, right? We're all humble before God. You can't be puffed up in the presence of Almighty God. And I think the fact that we do this once a year at the National Prayer Breakfast is a very healthy thing. And I also think it reminds us that we have, just as you were talking about GM, we have moral responsibilities. It's not only about the bottom line. We're not fiscal conservatives. We're human beings who have to care about workers. We have to care about the unborn. God ultimately wants to remind us of that so we can lead the lives He created us to lead. And I think that Trump saying that, it's shocking and wonderful that this president is being bolder than any president I've ever seen in talking about this issue, which most Americans are very, very sick over the late-term abortion edicts from Cuomo and Northam and others. It's very disturbing. So we need God, we need prayer, and I'm happy to say that on your show.
So much of the bad decision-making grows out of, in my view, hubris. Human beings thinking they have more power to control events than they actually have. People thinking they're God. I'm interested in what you just said, that prayer is the antidote to that. It keeps you from believing that you're in charge.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think, look, there are many people, usually very competent, intelligent people, who are tempted to think they're in charge. You're not in charge. You can get hit by a bus or a meteor. Things happen. If you have children, you get humbled by that. If you try to have a good marriage, it's humbling. We need to live there. We need to understand that without God and without His guidance, we can't love people the way we're supposed to love people. We cannot be the people we're supposed to be. And I think that's very hard for the most powerful among us. So the National Prayer Breakfast is a great way to remind them.
Eric Metaxas, one of the great writers. Donald Drains the Swamp, latest book. Great to see you, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.